Life is good. Life is good. The first day of high school, or hike school, as Billy Madison would say. And my son just got to go to high school for the very first time today. Him and my daughter went, and it was a time that was a little tough, quite exciting, but we're through it. My wife and I, we had our moment, and we talked about it, and we, kind of set up with pictures and all those things. But I tell you, it's probably one of the most challenging things that we had. And this day, obviously, it's special for myself, for my wife, for my kids, and but as a dad, it's kind of tough. And so I guess I'll start with this. I got roller skates that I didn't want from a woman who gave me everything I needed, and it took me 40 years to realize that I was focused on the wrong thing. You see, I think I was 14 years old, and all I wanted for my birthday was a pair of black skates. They were half, they weren't full high tops. They were halfway down. They had fat wheels. They were off-white wheels that I wanted. And they were a specific brand. I can't remember the exact brand, but it was from the skating rink in the Village in Lompoc, California. And we used to always go like every Friday night, Saturday night. That was the place to be. And skating rink was it. And I wanted those skates, the black ones with the off-white wheels that were a little fat, kind of sat off the side, almost kind of like the cars that you see that shouldn't have those rims on them. And there was a kid, his name is Tommy Burrows, and Tommy Burrows' dad owned the skating rink, and he had like all the coolest skates, all the stuff. And it was weird because his dad also owned the Village Diamond Company, which happened to be inside of the skating rink. So it was this, but to us, like, he was the biggest baller in the world. He drove a Pantera. I don't even know if you know what that Pantera was, but it kind of looked like a DeLorean. But here was this guy who had his dad, open shirt, hairy chest, gold chains. He was selling diamonds. He owned the skating rink. His son, was the best skater, and he had the coolest skates. And that's all I wanted for my birthday. And in my mind, it was a very simple ask. And I remember the day when my birthday came and my mom went to hand me a box. And when you receive a box, you understand, the weight of it, the size of it. And I knew this was my skates. And I was just so excited. My heart skipped. And then I tore open, I thought about, all the ladies swooning on Friday night while I was shooting the duck, when you drop down one leg out, and then when you're crossing over as you go around the corner, what I'm saying? I was imagining that, and all the ladies going crazy, and I had my new skates and all the stuff. And then I snapped back into reality, and I opened the package, and as I ripped it open, it was like my heart skipped a bit. And then I looked down, and it wasn't the leather skates half up with the big off-white wheels. They were some Vera Flex skates, and if you know what Vera Flex was like the off-brand. I think it was from like Gemco or Target or Kmart or whatever it was. And I acted like a complete jerk. And I probably made my mom feel crazy. See, the backstory was my mom was working 16 to 18 hours a day. My parents had just split up. She had just upgraded us to what, it was like Beverly Hills to us, but it was a 2-bedroom apartment. So now me and my 2 brothers were in one room, and she had her own room because before we were in a 1-bedroom apartment where she slept on the couch. So my mom was working her tail off, and she was doing everything that she could. And how ungrateful was I? So this morning, it made me think about, while I was on my dog walk, what if you don't get what you want when you want it from someone who you love? And it was tough because my mom is not around anymore, so I don't get a chance to be able to tell her this. I don't get to tell her thank you for the skates. I was just a jerk, and I was, almost acting like I was embarrassed, like I didn't want to use the skates. And as I sat with it today, I just realized, that my ungratefulness stemmed from my focus. Stick with me, because I'll explain that later, but Proverbs 25, today, it teaches us not only how to focus, but what to focus on. So why don't we get this party started?
Yeah, and this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Grew up on base where the bike ties hum, Crestview dunk ball, rubber band wars young. Trees we climbed stood tall like the dreams we slung. Sun on our backs, whole world on our tongues. Then boom, light flip, tight walls, no space, 5 deep in one room, but we kept our pace. Me and Rob laughed loud just to soften the weight. Didn't know what we lacked, cause the love was great. Mama spoke life like a prophet on fire. Pop said greatest, made the standard high. Didn't see it then through the thin wall grind, but the words took root in the back of our mind. Yeah, it's the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so
Sometimes,
strong.
oh, there we go. Sometimes I have to let that song run for a second because it just makes me feel like if you listen to the lyrics, I invite you even to scrub back and go listen to the lyrics because that's the story of our lives, the story of myself, my brother Rob, and my brother Guy, and that mama that I was talking about. I mean, the things that she was able to give, because I think she gave us things because she knew she was checking out early, and that's the crazy thing. So let me wrap this up too, because I was just studying. If you don't have Inchstones, The Vibe Within, it's my book I released last year. It's a journal. It takes you through 90 days of Proverbs, the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. And I have a friend named Amanda Vega, and Amanda is on day 81. And she has seen some absolutely monumental changes and shifts in her life. And it's not just in her relationships, sometimes, not just in the wisdom that she has, but it's actually fleshing out in her business. It's fleshing out in her business relationships, all those things. I just had my friend Scott reach out to me today, and he was talking about the power of relationships. You've heard me say it before. If this is the first time you're tuning in, welcome. This is an episode of Inchstones. We got a couple different episodes on the shows on the podcast. One is this 15 to 20 minutes of, fill up your soul. It's called Inchstones, so not the milestones that you focus on, that we are taught to focus on, but the Inchstones that you can celebrate, the little tiny things every single day that you can, that piles up to be able to do that. We also have a show that I interview my heroes, and I'm actually going to have none other than the DOC, one of the original, one of the most powerful legends in hip hop ever, but he's going to be on the show. We just had a Young MC, Speech from Arrested Development, Taboo. I just got a chance to be able to talk to Cool Bob Love, Bobito from the Stretch and Bobito show, Stretch Armstrong and Bobito show. So I interview my heroes, and then also I have a show called The History Box, and I have a World War II expert that comes in from the History Channel. We talk about history. He has a box of things that I don't know what they are, and we just check them out. And then I also have a show called You Have to Meet My Friends, where I go live and I call my friends randomly, and they don't know they're on the podcast till they're on the podcast. But right now, the greatest thing that you can do, honestly, and it's free, is just subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with a friend. It helps the algorithm. It helps us to be able to get seen by a bunch of other people, and I think it could bless a ton of people. So, but this episode of Inchstones, it's dedicated to Amanda Vega, and Amanda Vega, 81 days in, with the Inchstones journal that you can get on Amazon. I'll have the link in the bio for you, and you can go through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day, and it's nuts what will happen. First, you'll read the word, then it'll start reading you, and it's incredible, incredible, incredible. So, we all went to the skating rink. I talked about that earlier, told you the story about, the skates that I wanted. I wanted those skates so bad. I never got them to this day. Maybe I should get them now. But it's funny because when you look back, the things that you thought were so incredible and that were going to change your life, you probably wouldn't even want them now. And I probably wouldn't want the skates. I don't want to be cool at the skating rink, although I would love to open a skating rink here in Carlsbad. So that's my idea. And, if you want to be the first investor, give me a call, because I think it would be amazing. And but these things were so important at the time. And what I realized with my mom, when I was such a jerk, and I remember to this day, I wish that she was back around. And Mom, I want to thank you for the skates. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the Vera Flex skates, the ones that I was just a jerk about. But a lot of times, we don't get what we want when we want it from people who we love. And then how do we react? And most of the time we react probably not in the greatest way. And that happens to be just because of focus. And so it's amazing the way that God works, because Proverbs 25, which is the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day, it's the 25th of August today. And 3,000 years ago, this was written, Proverbs. And today it's applicable. Like, it hits so hard today. And so it not only teaches us how to focus, which is probably one of the toughest things. This is what my pops taught me, is that the difference between being good and being the best. And this is what he would always say. He was always very simple in his explanations, is the best are focused. That's it. If you look at the best in their respective fields, they're just focused. They just lock in. They work their own land. They don't try and work other people's lands. They don't they don't compare themselves to anybody else. They just stay in their lane. They work their land, and they're focused. And so it runs down in 25. This is kind of cool because it helps us not only to learn how to focus, but also what to focus on. So let's jump in Proverbs 25. God loves you. And that can be the answer to so many of your questions if you let it be. Think about this. Oh, I had an appointment yesterday. Someone didn't show up. And as opposed to being being a human being, you want to say like, oh, skip that person, or they just don't value my time, or whatever it is, that you thank God for that time. And I thanked him in that time because maybe I wasn't prepared. Maybe it wasn't the time. Maybe something was going to go wrong that I didn't even know. And it's incredible because the relationship with that person became deeper because, as opposed to turning on them, I just focused on the fact that, you know what, God has a plan. God loves me. And if he has a plan and he loves me, then he's going to take care of this thing. And so God loves you. Like, just that, just to know, like, God is love. And if it's not displaying love, most likely it's not of him. So he is love. And if he loves you, then he'll give you wisdom, right? Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. And then he'll be able to bring in knowledge into your life. And that knowledge will bring understanding. That'll bring insight, discernment, discretion, discipline, strength, and lead you right back to spending time with God, who is love. And then it will give you wisdom, and it'll start you in that wisdom circle. So that wisdom circle is actually in the book in Inchstones. And, it's something that once you break the cycle or break the circle, it starts to be challenging. But it's nice because once we have a focus that, hey, we just need to spend time with God, like, he is love. Like, it just makes it very, very simple. It's the answer to so many questions if you let it be. Intense heat purifies. This was a thing that I was having a conversation with one of my buddies, and he's going through some intense heat. And I just asked him the question, like, intense heat purifies. So when you're in the fire, first, what God wants us to know is that there's someone in there with you. There's a fourth man, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. When they went into the fire, they said they saw a person dancing in there, and then they came out. They didn't even have the smell of smoke on them. They weren't burnt. And there was another person in the fire. And that other person in the fire was working on their behalf, and it was God with them. So who's that fourth person in the fire for you? I could tell you who they are. Put a name to it, right? There's someone else in there with you. And second, there are things that you need to go through. So when the intense heat, and when it purifies, so when you're in that fire, number one, there's someone in there with you. And number two, there are things in you that need to go. So it's purifying. So I want to encourage you right now, because you're either in a trial, you're coming out of a trial, or you're about to go into one. At some point, like, this is the way that life works. So if we know that, and we go back to rule number one, this was one of those things that you see on, in your mom's bathroom or whatever. It's like, rule number one, and then it says rule number two, refer back to rule number one. Well, rule number one here, what God was talking about in Proverbs 25 is that God loves you. Like, he loves you. And that could be the answer to so many of your questions in your life if you let it be. God's timing is always perfect, although it's not always synced up with our timing. This is probably one of the most frustrating things for myself. Let others praise you. Third-party validation is so very, very important. A lot of times we get in a rush. We get in a rush because we want to be validated. We want to beat our chest and say, and this is the challenge that I have, and I've had recently with sports. Now, it could be a get off my lawn moment, but when you look in the NFL today, it's more of a beat my chest. I score a touchdown. It's not, beat my chest, all the stuff, point at myself and do all these things, celebrate myself. There was a time where Ozzie Newsome scored, I believe it was his first touchdown. He spiked the ball really hard, and his mentor came to him and he said, hey, the next time that you score, act like you're going to be there again. So don't celebrate as if it's the only time that it'll ever happen. And he became a Hall of Fame player, but that's the type of scenario. Let somebody else sing your praises as opposed to beating your chest. But that's not a part of today's culture and society. We want to say, oh, it was me, as all this stuff. But if you look at the greatest teams that have the greatest success and the longest tenure, they're the people who are pointing at the other people saying, no, it was, the quarterback that's saying it was my line, the running backs that's saying it was my line, the quarterback saying, well, it was our defense that was able to do it. Shout somebody else's praises, and yours will always be taken care of, but let somebody else praise you. Teach this to our kids, because our kids that are out there on the court are just watching the people that are in the NBA or even in college. But I tell you, if you teach your kids to have a humility, it doesn't mean that you don't raise killer. Like, you want them to have a killer instinct in sports, but this is a thing that I would suggest, and this is just my get off my lawn part, is let somebody else praise you. It's so much more powerful. Third-party validation, a person walking in and saying, oh, wow, this podcast, like last night I got to be with Bobito, Cool Bob Love, one of the most iconic people in hip-hop. I got on Facebook or Instagram, and he was on, and he called me on, and we're talking, and he's like, hey, you guys all need to go listen to Kelly's podcast. He's got one of the top podcasts in the world. It's called The Vibe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you can't pay for that. But it's third-party validation, right? Next one is just chill out. It'll work out. He loves you. It goes back to rule number one. Chill out. It'll work out. Everything will work out. Always. I had a situation where I was, my boss years ago, I was working at the Mandalay Bay. He was supposed to come in, supposed to fly in and then do a class. Well, I went to the airport. I circled a couple of times. He wasn't there. So I said, I'll go back and teach the class. I got home. I was frustrated because he never showed up. And I said to my mom, I'm frustrated. He didn't show up. Like, yeah, but that was very disrespectful. She said, son, you can think about it that way. Or you could think about it, the fact that he trusted you enough with his company that he thought that he didn't need to be there because you did so well. But the way in which you focus, where you focus, is going to create your reality. Well, I chose number two. And I always thought in my head that he trusted me so much, he loved me so much, and he thought that I was so great that he didn't even need to come. I've never asked him to this day why he missed it or whatever it was. It doesn't concern me. Where my focus is the fact that he trusted me. And you know what happened? Became the number one employee in that company, became the first six-figure earner, went down to a 4-day work week, ended up building another location for him, a third location out in Tulsa, and then starting my own company. And I based it off of trusting people at the highest level. Now, that's the result. So chill out. It'll work out. He loves you. And when we know that God loves us, if you love somebody, you're doing the best thing that you can for them. So chill out. Speaking life enhances everything. When you speak life to somebody, Scott reached out to me today. Scott Sandel, he reached out to me. He used my name, and then he used something that inspired him about me, and it just meant the world. He sent me a video. And he said, hey, man, I just want to tell you that this thing is working. He sent me back results, and he told me some things that I had talked about, which at the Health Tech convention that I host, and I did some keynoting for that. And he told me that, the whole emphasis of the weekend was relationships, and that you never know where someone's from, you never know where they're going, and you never know where you'll meet up with them again. So make a friend out of everyone. And he brought me back the results, and there's business deals that were in the works for 20 years. That's the crazy things. I had a keynote last year that I did, and it was this year. It came because 25 years ago, I volunteered my time and was in front of a girl, and then she got a executive position with the company, and she put my name in the hat to be the keynote for them. Sometimes it takes 25 years. I don't like it to take 25 years, but sometimes it does. And just remember that speaking life enhances everything. Like, you use someone's name and something that inspires you about them, it'll light cultures on fire. That's if you want to build your business, seriously, just build the people and allow the people to build the business. But how do you build the people? Just use their name and congratulate them on things that they did. It lights them on fire. But it brings me back to the question, what do you do when you don't get what you want when you want it from someone who you love? Well, you already saw how I reacted with the skates. The Vera Flex skates, I wanted the low top leather skates with the off-white wheels from the skating rink that had the Diamond Company in it that Tommy Burrows was wearing. So the girls would be checking me out as I'm crossing over. I'm going around the corner. I was able to do that. I had my Vera Flex skates. So here we go. The next one is small words and big action. I think this works in relationships. It works in business. It works personally, professionally, spiritually, and financially. Small words. Use small words, but do big action. Patience, prudence, and diligence. Patience, obviously, you know what that means. Prudence is just thought of the future. So if you have patience and you have thought of the future, and then you have diligence, which is right work, those three are a deadly combination that's undefeated. You put those three together, patience, prudence, and diligence, I mean, it's curtains, as I would say. So I just encourage you in any situation that you're at, stop for a second, pause for a second, and when you don't get what you want, when you want it from people who you love, ask yourself what you're focused on. Because if you're focused on yourself and your selfish desires, then you're going to get mad at that person. But if you're focused on how much they love you in the first place and all the sacrifices that they're doing, and they didn't deliver on this one thing, maybe it wasn't the right time. And this is where a lot of people get mad at people and situations. Enjoy, but don't gorge. This one's a tough one. I love me some peanut butter cups, and when they come from Trader Joe's and they're in the freezer and they're cold and my daughter gets them, I just want to smash them. I want to have like 20 of them, smash them in my mouth, can't even chew, whatever it is. But enjoy it. Don't gorge on it because it'll make you sick. And I've got sick so many times because I've indulged on too much of something that I wanted. Work your land. This one's a tough one. If you just tuned in too, if you're on Instagram, you could get the link. There's a link for the Inchstones, the Vibe Within. We're going through Proverbs 25, but also this will be on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. It's actually on the podcast, but I broadcast it live, and then you can check it out on our Substack too. So that's the station identification. Work your land. If you want to learn how to focus, work your land. Just focus in on what you were purposed to do, and when you focus in on what you're purposed to do, guess what starts to happen? Magic starts to happen all around you. Don't work somebody else's land. Just focus in on what your land is. Your land is your purpose. Your purpose is just to take and identify your gifts and then go give them away to every single person that you possibly can. And when this happens, magic starts to happen because that was designed for you. And when you do this, and it could be, for me early on, it was cutting hair. I cut hair in a garage. I actually started in a double wide mobile home bathroom with dog clippers that had duct tape on them. And then I just focused in on that. And my parents told me, seek out number one. So I went and found the number one person in the industry. I followed him around for 2.5 years, sat in the front row, gave him my card every single time. My name is Kelly Cardenas. My name is Kelly Cardenas. My name is Kelly Cardenas. And I just focused in on that one thing. I didn't care about what all my friends were doing, going to college, doing all this stuff. I was happy for them, but I wasn't focused on it. I just focused in on the number one person in the industry. And guess what happened? After 2.5 years, he told me, I'm either going to hire you or kill you because you're bothering me. But I bothered him enough to be able to get a job. I got a job with him, started as an assistant. At the time, I took a $62,000 pay cut to go and work with him in the most expensive place. So I was living in Memphis with my parents and didn't have any bills and moved to California. But you know what? The lid got taken off. And then I got to hang next to the number one person in the industry. And when he was in the elevator, and people said, oh my gosh, that's the Paul Mitchell guy. And they were like, that's the guy who's with the guy. Cool, awesome. Third-party validation right there. And I just learned and I learned and I learned and I learned and I made mistakes and all those things, but it prepped me to be able to start my own company about 10 years later. And I started my own company and we built it all over the country. And then we got to a point and my wife said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I just want to do the podcast and I want to go I want to speak. I want to do keynoting. I want to speak for conventions and companies and, environments. And she said, okay, so let's go do it. So we sold the company and now I'm here. And I've been focused in on this thing. This is episode 836. And, DOC is going to be on the podcast, like I said earlier. But the thing that I didn't say is that I've been working on DOC for over a year and a half. I've been sending him messages for a year and a half, and he finally responded, and now we're going to have him on the podcast. Timing is on God. It's not on us. That's why I wear the watch that I do, and I don't set it, because it never has been set, and this has been a gift from my wife on my 3rd anniversary. It's my favorite watch in the world, but it's never been set because it reminds me that I'm on God's time and not man's time. So work your land. Tell the truth, do good business, and be trustworthy. These are so crazy because this is Proverbs 25. I'm reading 3,000-year-old wisdom, but it's applicable today. Imagine this. Tell the truth, do good business, and be trustworthy. Imagine there's no negative that's going to come from that. Be good to people and let God handle it. If somebody wrongs you, let God handle it. Be good to people. Always be good to people. This is what I learned this from my brother a ton. Focus purifies. And when you focus in on something, it purifies it. It creates so much intense heat on all the things that you shouldn't be focused on. So when you're focused on that thing, it just, honestly, it stiff arms everything else. And sometimes I used to feel that was insensitive. But I found that it's the most sensitive thing that you could do to what you're doing, because if you'll do what you were purposed to do, every one of you has a purpose. Everyone that's listening or watching, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or, LinkedIn or YouTube or Substack, of which you should all be subscribed to. But if you're listening on there or you're watching, every single one of you has a purpose. And if you work your purpose, everyone will be blessed around you. If you work your land, what you were designed for, everyone will be blessed around you. And you know what? You'll be blessed also. And when you're striving and there's a lot of heavy weight on your shoulders and you're carrying stuff, guess what? It's just because you're carrying stuff you're not designed to carry. You're not designed to carry anything else but God's love. So spend time with him. He is love. Then he'll give you wisdom. That wisdom will lead to knowledge. Knowledge will lead to insight. Insight to discretion. Discretion to discernment. Discernment to discipline. Discipline to strength. And I tell you, when you stay inside that cycle, things become what most call magic. Oh, wow, magic is... I know it's not magic. It's just you're doing exactly what you were purposed to do. Be content and know that God is working all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. I'm going to have all these notes on Substack too, so make sure that you subscribe to us on Substack. I'll give you all the show notes because I've promised that in the past, but now we have the ability to be able to do it. Focus takes self-control, and this is a big thing. Like if you can control yourself, because we all get distracted, right? I got distracted as I was sitting down. I was spending time with God this morning. I was writing out my notes today for the podcast. As I'm writing them, I get a text that comes in, and then I want to respond to them, and I'm asking them questions. Then I go down a rabbit hole. I'm like, wow, I use my text app. Is Instagram jealous? So then I check my Instagram. Is Facebook jealous because I did that? And then I check my Facebook. And then 20 minutes later, then I'm in the abyss of scrolling. This focus thing, it takes self-control. We've got to be able to control ourselves to be able to focus in on what God has us to do. And if you're a leader in a company, I guarantee you, all your employees will be blessed if you will just do what you were purposed to do. And apply those principles to whatever it is that you're doing. And business is very, very simple. Number one, write small checks for big checks. That's what business is. So send out less than what you're receiving. That'll make it, that's accounting 101, right? That gives you a master's degree in business. Then if you want to grow the business, just build the people around you and then allow them to go build the business. Because when you get them focused on what they were purposed to do, which is not what you were purposed to do, and then they go do it, they're going to do it at their highest ability, and then everybody's going to be blessed. And imagine, if you have a job right now, you want your boss to allow you to do what you were purposed to do. If he did and got out of the way, I guarantee you would accomplish a lot more. So, if you want to build a business, just build the people and allow them to build the business. Well, how do we build people? We just speak life to them. That's it. Just speak life to them. So, focus takes self-control. And this is a crazy thing. What I learned is that it's not that we lack focus. It's actually a matter of what we focus on. And so for me, with the skates, I was focused on my selfish desires, why I deserve to have Those black skates, the leather ones that are half down with the big wheels on it that are off-white from the skating rink that has the diamond company inside of it. That's what I wanted. That's what I was focused on. And it was pretty darn selfish based off the fact that my mom was working 16 to 18 hours a day, barely able to sleep, taking care of 3 boys, and she had just upgraded us into a 2-bedroom apartment, which was like Beverly Hills to us, because we were in a 1-bedroom apartment with those 4 people, and my dad lived with us for a little bit until they split up again. But I mean, I wasn't taking into account all the sacrifices and love that my mom had for me and the sacrifices that she was making to be able to make sure that I had food in the first place or be able to survive. I was just focused on the selfish desire. So it wasn't that I lacked focus. It was what I was focused on. And, my mom loved me and was displaying that through hard work and sacrifice. That's the tough thing. It's a tough thing for me today. If you have your mom with you, call her today and tell her you love her. Like today, right now. Just stop the podcast and just call her and tell her you love her. If you've got your kids on this planet, you have a challenge with them, call them and tell them you love them. Don't tell them all the things that they did wrong. Don't focus on that part. Just tell them that you love them. Your brother, your aunt, your uncle, you have a challenge with. Call them right now because you still have them. I don't have my mom to thank her for those skates, but I wish I could. You're in heaven, Mom. I love you. I love Vera Flex skates. I actually want to be sponsored by Vera Flex. For that would be awesome if the podcast was sponsored by Vera Flex, and then I just got the skates and I just skated around. The wheels barely even rolled, Mom. Just want to let you know. I couldn't go fast. Couldn't shoot the duck. Couldn't go around the corners that fast, and no ladies were swooning on me at the skating rink in the village in Lompoc when I was a kid. But what she was teaching me was they shouldn't be swooning on you because the skates that you have. They should be swooning on you because the character that you have. I didn't like that. I learned that now. So today, I want to challenge you. When you don't get what you want, when you want it, from people who you love, I ask you to pause for a second. Pause for a second and focus on how much you love them and how much they love you. I promise the results will be different when you do that. Mama, I know you can hear me. You're walking on streets of gold. You're up in heaven with sweet baby Jesus. Thank you for the skates. Thank you for the Vera Flex skates. Thank you for not getting me what I thought that I needed at that particular time. Maybe it was teaching me a lesson that I needed to work on my game. That's probably what you were saying, Mom. Like, work on your game. It's not the skates. That's what my pops told me when I told him I wanted Jordans. I was like, well, I need Jordans. They're $100. My dad was like, why do you need those shoes, boy? And I said, because, it'll make me better at basketball. He said, boy, you need to go out in those shoes right there and get good at basketball. And when you get good at basketball, we'll go get you the shoes. I think that's maybe one of the lessons that my mama was teaching me. But the other one that I learned today was focus. And so it's not that we lack it. It's there. Sometimes we just need to shift it. So when you don't get what you want, when you want it from someone who you love, just focus on how much you love them and how much they love you and all the things that they've done in the past, especially except for this one little thing. And this is something that I see a lot of times where people get disappointed with God because he doesn't give them exactly what they want when they want it. And they think, well, then how could you love me? Well, sometimes he loves us so much that he won't give us what we want because it's not time yet. So I want to thank you so much. This is an episode of Inchstones. We go through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day. This was Proverbs 25. If you want to check it out on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, that's where it lives all the time, 24 hours a day for you to be able to enjoy and to be able to write a review. If you haven't on Apple, do that. That helps us too. Write a review on Spotify, like us and subscribe on YouTube. And then we've got a live version of the podcast coming up. It's September 23rd. It is the Vibe Room. So I added live music, stand-up comedy, and I incorporate all of my 4 shows there live. And I have some of the coolest interviews, and I don't tell you who they are. They're in the room all night, so you get to hang with them. Heavily curated room, but it's amazing. So it's called the Vibe Room. It's unbelievable. It's sold out for the last 10 times, and this is our 11th one, and we will sell this one out too. So I hope you have a phenomenal day. It is Tuesday, and the first day of high school for my son. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Share it with a friend. I love you a ton. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Grew up on base where the bike ties hum, Crestview dunk ball, rubber band wars young. Trees we climbed stood tall like the dreams we slung. Sun on our backs, whole world on our tongues. Then boom, light flip, tight walls, no space. 5 deep in one room, but we kept our pace. Me and Rob laughed loud just to soften the weight. Didn't know what we lacked, cause the love was great.
Hey, I've never done this before, but I'm going to come back here because I got a bunch of questions. So I'm gonna ask you this. I hope you guys are still there. Zima, I want to tell you, Kelly, you're the most positive, uplifting human. I love you, buddy. I appreciate you. The most positive, uplifting human. Thank you. Can we ask questions? Yes, you can ask questions. Just type them in the the chat, and I'll answer them. I've never done this before, but it's kind of cool because, it means the world to me. And then random thought, I think you might be an amazing pastor. I appreciate that too. Let's see. I think it's 1333XYY. Can we ask questions? I guess I could type it in and say that, but yes, you can. Can ask questions. Do you guys ever wonder why you have you ever wondered why you while you're typing something out you actually say it, just like I was doing there? So I want to thank you guys honestly for being on and being here with me, and I appreciate you. This was great. I'm glad I got to catch part of it. I want you to know too, you can catch the whole thing. We record this, and you can catch the whole thing on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, and and it's on the podcast. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you. I've never come back on afterwards, but it's one of those things. I want to have a conversation with you. So if you do have questions, DM me. Send those messages over to me. You can type them in the chat that you can. So I appreciate you more than you know, and I guess now is the time. That was my first encore. So congratulations to the encore. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Inchstones, check it out. I love you. Let's play the song again and take us out. There's my first encore. Peace. Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times